The following is a special presentation of KDOW. Money Pulse. Monitoring the heartbeat of money. From Wall Street to Main Street to your wallet. Now here's your host, Dynasti E Young.
Hi, thank you for tuning in. This is Dynasti E Young, your host on the Money Pulse. Today, I am sitting with Joe Armedariz from Salem Political Solutions. Hi, Joe. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Dynasti, for inviting me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It looks like, there's an election year coming up here. You might have some things to share with us, some insight, and I'd love to know, what is Salem Political Solutions?
Well, it's a great question. And by the way, I love your background with the Salem surround and my background, Salem Political Solutions. And I think that's a good segue into answering your question, which is many of your listeners, maybe, I hope, have heard of Salem Media, or more specifically, Salem Media Group. And so as a group of companies, different divisions within the umbrella is Salem Surround, which as we just referred to, and Salem Political Solutions. I believe I'm accurate in saying that Salem Political Solutions is the newest division of Salem Media Group. And it was stood up about 2.5 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, but roughly. And it's kind of what it sounds like. It's Salem's ambition and mission. I prefer mission to ambition, although I think they both go together well.
Absolutely.
To be a player in the political space. And Salem Media already is a player in the media space, in that we own very notoriously, outrageously conservative and faith-based and family-based and cause-based assets, including Town Hall Media, which includes under that umbrella Hot Air, which is these are all digital media, digital opinion assets that people can access every day. Hot Air, Town Hall, which is under the Town Hall Medium, but just Town Hall is a standalone. Hot Air, Red State, which I'm a former contributor to, and PJ Media, Right to Bear Arms, Twitchy. So these are all well-known political assets that Salem Media owns that helps us, generate a conversation online. We also have radio networks and podcast networks, which include some of the biggest podcasters in the world, including people like Charlie Kirk, Trish Regan, Hugh Hewitt, Larry Elder, Dennis Prager, although he's on leave due to an unfortunate accident.
Yeah, poor guy.
And the list actually goes on and on. Mike Gallagher and Chris DeGal, and so we're right there at the intersection of the political conversation. And now through Salem Political Solutions, we are activated so that we can really enter into the political ecosystem and the political terrain, working with candidates for office and issue advocacy nonprofit organizations and public agencies. So, we work with counties, state, federal government, local governments in the public agency space. We work with some of the most interesting and extraordinarily effective nonprofit organizations in the issue advocacy space, including National Right to Life, NRA, Heritage Foundation, the list goes on and on. We are working with and have worked with in the past, some of the biggest, most successful and dynamic political campaigns in the history of the world and the universe and the Milky Way, referring specifically to Donald Trump's campaign.
Yep.
And then even currently in the immediate, we're working with, gubernatorial candidates from Ohio to Texas to Oklahoma. And where I come in mostly, and you and I working together, I should say, come in this whole, situation is statewide. So Salem Political Solutions wants to have a big impact on statewide races, down ballot races. So, think governor, down below governor, state legislature, and then statewide, races. So you have here, we'll use California as an example, since both you and I are in California.
Yep.
We have, state controllers races, right? Attorney
Mhm.
general, lieutenant governor, insurance commissioner. So those are all statewide races that we're playing in. And then even below that to the county level, county supervisor, municipal, mayor, city council, and then even below that. Although I don't want to use the word below because it would imply that school board is below city council, and I don't think it is. In fact, I would argue that maybe of all the races I've referred to so far, school board races are the most important, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I can't think of anything more important than having, sensible people serving on school boards. And I think that should be obvious to anybody who has our values as far as, faith and family and country.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, building our youth for the future is kind of a big deal too. So having some sensible people up in that category is a high priority for myself, at least having children. So yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's who we are. That's what we're doing. And we really do have a grand mission statement to play an indispensable role in helping like-minded people not only get elected, but helping them communicate with like-minded people in the fruited plain from sea to shining sea. And we're uniquely positioned to do that through a whole suite of tools and services and software as a service tools that some of them are tried and true that we've had and been deploying for years, and others are brand new, even as recently as this year, 2025. So
Right.
I suspect you probably want to get into a little bit about some of our new software as a service tools.
Absolutely. I think some of the new partnerships that we have at Salem Media Group as a whole, and specifically affecting Salem Political Solutions, has been extremely exciting, very progressive, even moving the needle faster than we've ever seen before. And we've moved the needle for years. Why don't you speak to some of the new partnerships and maybe some of the new partnerships and what that looks like for Salem Political Solutions specifically?
So on Christmas Eve, or maybe it was New Year's Eve, I'm sorry, New Year's Eve of 2024, there was a company-wide meeting. Salem Media, our CEO, our chief operations officer, who we call the Daves, they basically sent all of us out a calendar invite for a company-wide meeting where they announced some pretty exciting news, which is that Salem Media, in addition to consolidating certain assets, is now, through our financial strategic relationship with a values-driven venture capital company, has brought in talent, both human resources and financial, that allows us to be debt-free, but perhaps equally important is have access to one of the smartest digital media, political media personalities in the world today. And I'm referring to
Mhm.
Brad Parscale. For your listeners who don't know, Brad is a alumnus, Not sure really. You can correct me if I didn't say out loud what the
No
proper word
corrections here. No
is.
corrections here, Joe.
So Brad started working for the Trump Organization back in 2012, and at the time, he was an independent small business guy who developed websites and did digital media, worked 21 hours a day, and through a very fortuitous phone call, ended up becoming the digital manager of the Trump Organization in 2012, and that evolved into becoming Donald Trump's digital media architect in President Trump's famous 2016 race. And so that became something where he also was obviously very involved in the Trump White House circa 2017 to 2020, and handling the campaign re-election in 2020. And then as an independent partner, vendor, for lack of a better word, became the de facto digital media campaign manager for the Trump 2024 re-election, which is, I think, and I think most of your listeners would agree, is one of the most extraordinary political comebacks in history. Donald Trump is
Right.
one of only two U.S. presidents who has ever served non-consecutive terms. And Grover Cleveland, I'm not an expert on, but I can tell you nobody would have predicted that Donald Trump in 2021, for example, would have been reelected and inaugurated president in 2025. So Brad had a huge role. Donald Trump's an iconic figure. I don't want to take anything away from the president.
Absolutely,
but
yeah.
Brad Parscale, in his brilliant digital media mind, I think was really extraordinarily important in that. And so he's now Salem Media's chief strategy officer.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll continue to talk about Brad Parscale and his contributions and some of his proprietary assets he brought along with him to the team. Very exciting information. Definitely something that Trump is using still and has used since 2017, 2016, I believe you said. And we'll get into that right after the commercial break. We're here with Joe Armedariz from Salem Political Solutions. If you want to reach our local office, you can call us, ask any questions you might have, or if you know someone running for a race that they may need help that align with what you're hearing today, you can call 510-897-1305. That's 510-897-1305. And that's our San Francisco office.
Money Pulse, KDOW's financial news magazine, monitoring the heartbeat of money from Wall Street to Main Street to your wallet. You're listening to Money Pulse on AM 1220 KDOW.
Hi, welcome back to Money Pulse. This is Dynasti, your host, sitting with Joe Armedariz from Salem Political Solutions. We're here in San Francisco discussing some new partnerships with Trump, and Brad Parscale is where we're going with this conversation. Some new digital assets he brought to the team as what was his title?
Yeah, for Salem Media, his title is Chief Strategy Officer.
Yeah, amazing guy.
Yeah, he is an amazing guy. Absolutely.
So let's talk about some of this really awesome stuff that he brought to the table and he's made available for our team at Salem Political Solutions, and what that looks like for campaigns and candidates running and just Salem Political Solutions in general.
Yeah, and it's exciting to be able to work with someone like Brad, who, anybody who knows him would agree that the way his mind works is incredible. And listening to him talk about what he loves is like trying to drink out of a fire hose, And so it's something that it's been really, really exciting to work with him. And so through our strategic partnership with Brad, we have something that I like to call our political trifecta. Brad calls it the war room. I like political trifecta a little bit better, just because war room has a different connotation to me. But they work together. These are tools that work together to change the game, just to be honest with you. They really are game-changing technologies. The first one, which I know a lot about, Dynasti, is called Eyes Over. And so Eyes Over is it's an AI-powered, as Brad would say, it's an AI-powered war room. Okay, it doesn't just tell you what people are saying. Frankly, it tells you what they are about to care about. And so you can imagine how valuable that would be in the context of a campaign, right? It tracks sentiment in real time, detects narrative fatigue, which is something that's really useful in a campaign. And what it really does is it breaks through moments before polling can, and that's really the bottom line. And what's, I think, most important to campaigns is it's real-time sentiment tracking that tracks voter narrative and fatigue and tells you as a campaign what people are thinking and what they're going to think about far quicker and more with more agility than any poll ever could.
And Joe, maybe even more authentically as well, right? I mean, I feel like polling, you don't always get the real sample of what we're trying to find out, especially in specific regions.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. If a poll is basically 500 people, maybe 350 people that a polling company might talk to over the course of a week, and then you kind of ask the question, well, who are those people, right?
Were they eating dinner when they called?
Yeah, I
really don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, considering how hard it is to get through to people,
right.
The notion that you would be able to get through to people who will answer their phone regardless of who it is, you're talking about a different breed of cat here, right?
Right, right. My kids
I
never answer their phones, so I could see the
well,
younger crowd maybe not answering.
and neither do I. Much to your frustration, I know sometimes. But I think what you've hit on there, Dynasty, is really important because Eyes Over is a more authentic group of people. These are ordinary, regular people who are engaged online. So Eyes Over really is what it sounds like, right? It's eyes over the online conversation that's taking place every day, all day long. And it's X, it's Meta, including Facebook groups.
Mhm.
It's it's RSS feeds, it's YouTube, it's
Reddit.
it's Reddit. And by the way, there's a lot of conversation on Reddit, a lot more
Yeah, I
than I
just
think a lot of
discovered it
people
myself,
realize.
actually. So much
Yeah.
conversation.
I mean,
Yeah.
my son is on Reddit every day, and I didn't know how prevalent it was. But it's something that is orchestrating and facilitating a pretty dynamic and rambunctious conversation about a variety
Absolutely.
of issues. And
Hmm.
so um, Eyes Over tracks that. And through a special relationship with each of those entities, and through the customized building of an AI model, it is able to track that, listen to it, and anticipate it, understand it, and ultimately use that information to deploy through our other tools and strategies, tactics that allow you as a political campaign or as a special interest to get your message out and to make sure that it resonates with the people that you want your message to resonate with the most. So that's Eyes Over. The next one is what they call influenceable, and it's kind of what it sounds like. It's an influencer tool that develops a narrative warfare, almost, to be honest with you. It creates virality, right? We've all heard of something going viral.
Yep.
A lot of times things go viral because of who's talking about it. So
Right.
think Sound of Freedom, the movie. Think
Hmm.
Police State. Though Sound of Freedom, for example, is a great example because when they came to Influenceable to help them tell their story, I think the anticipation from the producers of the movie were that they would maybe do 25 million in sales.
Hmm.
I think as of last month, Sound of Freedom worldwide has earned almost $1 billion.
That's
So
incredible.
yeah, so that really does give you an idea of what happens when something gets organic, user generated content, and then you have the built-in credibility of people that talking about things that you care about. And so Influenceable as a tool is something that we can deploy for our clients as either a brand awareness tool, or in many cases, and in politics, I think this has a really important role, is rapid response, right? When
Right.
somebody's saying something about you as a candidate that you don't want being said, you
Control
know,
the narrative.
you
Control
got to
that.
control the narrative and you got to control it fast.
Right.
The studies and the statistics show you that if you wait even as much as 24 hours, it can have very, very negative impacts on your brand and on your reputation. And so
The
Influenceable is
power
a
of the
really
media. That's crazy. 24 hours
yeah,
that's
yeah,
incredible.
absolutely. So that's really something that's pretty cool, and we're excited about being able to offer our clients that. And then finally, the one that you and I talk about a lot, I know, is something called Campaign Nucleus. And again, this tool, more than the other two, are literally built and conceived by Brad himself. And so this is kind of the
Hmm.
apple of Brad's eye, and it's really a central command hub. It's a CRM, it's an email tool, it's an SMS tool, texting, a media tool, public, a press tool. You can use it to build websites, landing pages. You can use it to fundraise. You can use it to manage volunteers and donors and track people from the evolution of message, hearing message, acting on message, and then moving to the next stage as far as what you want people to do. So those three tools collectively, War Room, Political Trifecta, are what he has brought to the table. There's another one that I won't talk about today, but you'll
That'll be for
hearing,
next time.
but you'll be hearing about, and it's equally exciting and fantastic. And so we're really just feeling super blessed as a company to be affiliated and working in a strategic way with Brad. And then, as you, I know, and maybe some of your listeners know, we also more recently, a couple months ago, entered into a strategic financial relationship with Donald Trump Jr. and Laura Trump, Eric's wife. And we, with Salem Media, took a financial position in Donald Trump Jr.'s company, MXM. So, I think the message that I would convey to a right-leaning conservative, candidate for office or organization that is a mission-driven organization that has right-leaning faith, pro-family values, is there isn't a multimedia company in the United States today that has a closer relationship, more solid relationship with not only the audience you want and the voters you want, but the Trump administration and the Trump family orbit. So, 5 years ago, the Wall Street Journal called Salem Media a conservative multimedia powerhouse. And that was 5 years ago. So fast forward to today, and I think we are the undisputed conservative multimedia company that you want to be working with to win your race.
1 minute.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joe, for that. That is just incredible. Campaign Nucleus, the CRM for right-leaning candidates, organizations with SMS capabilities, emailing, nurturing campaigns, landing page building, press release. It replaces that MailChimp, Nation Builder, all those things that people are using in different spaces all in one that Brad Parscale had created. And he created it for this whole reason altogether, is to getting those people elected and getting those organizations some money. I think it's incredible. I think everyone should check us out. Check out Salem Political Solutions. Reach out to our office locally, 510-897-1305, 510-897-1305. Any questions are welcome. Joe Armedariz from Salem Political Solutions. Thank you so much for joining us. That was
My
awesome.
pleasure.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
This has been Money Pulse, KDOW's financial news magazine, monitoring the heartbeat of money from Wall Street to Main Street to your wallet.